I saw Pacific Rim last night, 10 p.m. show, IMAX 3D. I'm a huge fan of animes, you guys know this. I love anime so much. I mean, I grew up with Robotech, Gundam, Technoman, Tekkaman Blade, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, I love mechs, right? So I couldn't wait to see the definite movie. I mean, the definite movie that you think in live action movies, when you think of that, you would think of this movie, Pacific Rim. So I was looking forward to this since the beginning when they showed the artwork for it, and I mean, they showed the big gigantic mech, and then they showed the people next to it. I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be great. So we start seeing the trailers. I got really pumped up for that. So 10 o'clock show last night. Here's the poster I got last night. I got about 4 of these because it wasn't very packed. There was not a lot of people. I kind of figured that I don't think people have much interest in this. It's only the people that really enjoy this. Like, even my wife's like, I don't even care about watching this movie. Go ahead. So you can see Gypsy Danger there. That's the main mech or Jaeger from the United States. Pacific Rim, and you see one of the big kaijus here with a bunch of destruction all over the place. So very nice posters given last night for the IMAX 3D show. So I was looking forward to this movie so much, right? So Pacific Rim. Pretty much the story of this movie is that these gigantic aliens, because they are aliens, you know, they were saying like, oh, alien life form, you know, comes from outer space, but these things are coming from inside our own world. But technically they are aliens because it's just a portal that opens between 2 worlds. It's an alien world. I was hoping more for to have these things living in the core of our planet, like a center core, the core of the planet Earth, and then they would actually dig up and finally reach the surface, and they're coming out, and I would like to see like them going down there and you know, having a war between these things and whatever, right? But no, they're aliens from another world, and this is a portal opens in the Pacific in this ravine, and they're coming out to destroy us, right? An alien race, looks like an alien race, pretty much. They look like they're the same size of us, but they just clone and make these gigantic things that have been coming through generations and generations, even predating the dinosaur age. So they were sending these called kaijus, big gigantic monsters, and there was different categories, like, you know, smaller to like even more advanced ones. So category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I mean, we've only seen like certain categories 1, 2, and 3, and then all of a sudden throughout the movie we're getting the bigger ones and more advanced with bigger weaponry. So of course we have to counterattack because our human race is going to be destroyed by these gigantic things, right? They just come in and stomp everything, destroy all our cities and everything. So a Jaeger program was evolved. It was a spawn, which is, the Jaeger program is pretty much, they make gigantic robots to fight off these things, okay? So, and they're controlled by, well, one thing I would have liked to see in the beginning, it was like to kind of develop what this program was, and to show us the first stages, because, you know, they classify some of the Jaegers as Mark III and all that. So I would like to see what the Mark I looked like in the development and all that. They kind of just browse through that real quick. And I mean, the set, you know, I like to really get set in this world. So they didn't emphasize it. They just kind of give you a whole thing, and all of a sudden, boom, you're in the movie. So the mechs, they tried controlling them with 1 pilot, but they couldn't handle the mental restraint of controlling this thing, so they have to operate with 2 people, right? So they can share the load mentally. So they interlink together through their thoughts and all that, and then they can control the thing better and share the load of controlling this. I personally would have liked to see 1 pilot, because it brings up the sense of heroism, right? 1 pilot, 1 machine. Or even do like pilot and weapons expert, right? I wasn't sold out on the fact that, listen, if you got, we're 2 of us in there, right? And you're like, you know what, I'm gonna punch him like this, right? And then the other person's like, whoa, why don't we punch him like that, you know, or like this, or so, you know, the confusion there. Even at the beginning, the Mako, when she couldn't, it would have been a big disaster because they weren't linked together, they weren't synced together, and they almost destroyed the whole base. So it's kind of a big downfall. I would have liked to see just, you know what, explain that, you know what, the technology is awesome, and maybe a future upgrade, if there's a sequel, maybe it's just, you know what, we better have just one mech, one pilot per mech. And give it a sense of like character too. You know what I mean? Like when he talks, when they're in the mechs and they're walking around and they can communicate, like wouldn't it be awesome to have like Gypsy Danger and Crimson Typhoon, and Mako would have been the pilot of Crimson Typhoon, and give him some character, you know, walk around and talk to each other while they're fighting with like crazy like mechanical like robot voices. That would have been like incredible. I think it would have been a great thing to see in the movie. But anyways, the two pilots control the gigantic Jaeger. What worked in this movie for me, the special effects were jaw-dropping. It was incredible to see the big scope, how big these things are, and the IMAX 3D delivers. Like, if you want to see something spectacular, how big, to really get the dimension in this, go see it in IMAX 3D today. The movie opened today. So, but I mean, it was incredible. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I couldn't wait for the next scene when they got into Jaeger, or oh, okay, another kaiju alert, they're coming through, because they would come. There was a clock, and I mean, they weren't coming like 5 or 6 at a time. It's just one at a time. So they had a clock, and they kind of figured out how long it takes for the other one to come through. I guess they were really respectful like that. I mean, if I'm invading a planet, I would just send a whole army of those things and it'd be over in one day. So anyways, so I couldn't wait to the next scene, right? But in between those scenes, there was a big lack of good acting. I mean, I couldn't relate to any of these characters. I couldn't fall in love with any of these characters. The main guy, which as you can see, I already forgot the name of the guy because I didn't really care about this hero. He was just very dry. You know, he was just too. I didn't sense anything from him. Like he was like determined to save humanity. I mean, his brother died, and that was his motivation. But I just didn't see, you know, this extreme motivation. You know, if a family member gets killed by one of these things, I would like seriously, you know what, I'd be like the silent type. I would get in this thing and do, you know, like the most incredible stuff, man. Like you got a tool now to fight these things, and you would do anything. You know, before you didn't have a chance. You know, you're this little person like this, and this thing is gigantic. You won't have a chance, but now you have a fighting chance. And I just, you know, there were, you see what I'm, where I'm getting at. So now there's different Jaegers too that represent different countries, and all of a sudden, like, couldn't understand, like, okay, this is the ultimate way to fight this thing. There's no other way. Those walls and stuff they were building with those turrets on top, that's like such a waste of time. Why don't we just invest the money on more Jaegers and more incredible tech? You know, these walls weren't going to do anything. So now the governments pull their resources. So now the Jaeger program is like a resistance. I couldn't understand that. I mean, I would have liked to see the whole world united, and that's what I got from the trailer: the world united, making their mechs and fighting these things. There was other incredible mechs in the movie. Gypsy Danger is the main mech in the movie, which is awesome. I love the design of this. Awesome, badass fight scene. But there's other Jaegers too that were badass, like Eureka Strike. That mech was sick. Crimson Typhoon, but they had such short scenes. They were so, I mean, maybe they had prior awesome records of killing kaijus, but once they come on screen for us to see, I mean, it was quoted in record that these things were badass and they killed so many. But you know what? When we get to see what they can do, they get destroyed in their first scene. So it was like kind of like, wow, okay, we didn't get to see. So it was Gypsy Danger all the way. I mean, it was badass. You know, he's the main guy. I love that one. That's the best one. But you know, it's kind of like useless of the other ones. So yeah, my main gripe of the movie, I couldn't attach myself to any of these characters. The main man, the Colonel, which right here, I don't know what he's done. Can't remember. I saw the movie last night. I can't even remember the names because I just didn't care much about them. This guy right here, the Colonel, he was badass. He had these moments there, but he never hit that high peak, you know, like of heroism. Even his super speech, the Commander Shepard speech, wannabe, kind of like that. Even the suit looked like Mass Effect kind of thing, but it never hit that high note. You know what I mean? Like, so. And then you know what, the thing, like how we the main how are we gonna solve this problem? Because I mean, oh yeah, those scientist dudes, I mean, it was so cheesy their acting. Like, I know Guillermo del Toro was rendering an homage to the Japanese mech movies and the monster movies, but it's almost like he actually made an homage to how cheesy those movies could be, and he went with it instead of making it some serious thing. You know, the scientists did not to be. Why were they that goofy? You know, they were like running around, you know, it's like, I couldn't understand. I wasn't buying that. The guy from Hellboy, Roman Perils, I can't remember his name, he was alright in it, and he was kind of goofy too. You didn't need that in there at all. But we solve everything with nukes nowadays in movies. I mean, you know, the scientists find out by connecting to one of the big kaiju brains that these things are just going to keep coming through, and they want to eliminate us and extinguish us, right? So they got to go through the portal, the rim, the connection between the two worlds, and they want to just drop a nuke down there and blow it up, right? That's the only way. So I would have liked to see more, like, you know, kind of like build an army, and you know that you got to get down there, or you got to go through the other world and fight them on their own turf. I would like to see the epic fight with all the Jaegers from all the representing the world, man, even with flags or something. I don't know, like representing our home world and fighting for us. So, I mean, they go through there, they drop a nuke. It kind of reminded me of Independence Day at the end, which, you know, they pretty much just drop a nuke in front of the alien's face and they detonate it, and that was it. Overall, it was an entertaining movie, popcorn flick, a lot of incredible action with the mechs, special effects in Unreal, good sound, incredible scope of scale on these things. The music was good. Ramin Djawadi did the soundtrack of this, which is the guy that did the soundtrack for Iron Man, which it was a good soundtrack, but it wasn't as epic as the Iron Man one. It was good. It hit its high notes, but it was okay. Acting was, I don't think it was that great. I think it could have done better. And overall, it was a good movie. Go see it if you like that sort of stuff. Big gigantic mechs running around, fighting each other and destroying everything in their path. So I give Pacific Rim 7 out of 10. And I can't wait for Elysium. Elysium looks amazing. You guys take it easy. Have a great weekend.